Hello everyone and welcome to the Digimon Ghost Game review video. This time I'm going to be giving my quick thoughts on the latest episode, which is episode 27, Monsters Beauty Serum. Now just a quick recap before we dive in. So this episode had Hiro researching urban legends in order to find out the next Mon of the Week. He hears about people being called to water, and then, all of a sudden, magically, he goes downstairs and finds that the receptionist has been attacked by the Mon of the Week. So that was really good timing. He's able to research and find the Mon of the Week fairly quickly because he just stumbles upon it, which isn't too bad. It just means this episode doesn't have the ghost game problem, which is the fact that they spend too much time researching the Mon of the Week and then little time fighting it. This episode, because they researched the Mon of the Week in the first minute and found it very quickly, they were able to actually have the rest of the episode to be stalked by the Mon of the Week. In any case, that's what happens. So Splashmon, the Mon of the Week, decides to stalk the three main characters, and he wants to eat their fear for his own beauty serum. Now, going into this episode, I thought that it was going to be just like the Myotismon episode where we have a Digimon selling a product to humans, and it's not actually a product that is available for people to use. It's not like a brand or anything. It's just it's beauty serum, but it's only for his use only. So that's a different spin on it. I wasn't really looking forward to this episode going in because it just sounded like we're using the Myotismon episode, how it's the Digimon in charge of some cosmetics company. In this episode, no, it's just a beauty serum that he's using. So he's making this beauty serum by having people fear, and he's capturing them. And at the start of the episode, where we get the first attack, I thought it was going to be a lot more violent than it actually turned out to be. It was just, it looked like somebody was drowning underwater. You could see them go limp. So I thought, oh wow, but we're not killing people. I thought that we were going to be killing people. We're not this time. But that's fine because we've had a few episodes of actual death. So that's fine going into it. So anyway, the group gets stalked as they are also trying to track down Splashmon, and they end up finding him in a ship. And then Betelgeumon is turned to water, and so is Tesla Jellymon. So they're only left with Simbara and Goramon. Hiro, because he's been researching the Mon of the Week, says that Ruri should use the field shift to snow, so they do that, and then they end up freezing Splashmon, and then when they're worried about what will happen if he just thaws, we have Blacktailmon and Moosemon show up to take Splashmon away. And we already have seen in previous episodes that Blacktailmon seems to be returning Digimon to the digital world. We got that in the Systemon episode, which was the go-karting episode, which was kind of fun. So I guess that's kind of just what Blacktailmon is doing. And before Blacktailmon leaves, Hiro gives him a letter to give to his dad. So I'm glad that that's sort of being addressed. Anyway, in terms of what I thought about this episode, it was definitely very creepy. It wasn't scary like we've had in previous episodes. It was just creepy. I was creeped out by Splashmon. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't mode change to his tiger form at all in the battle. He just stayed as his human form, or humanoid form rather. So that was interesting, but we did just get Splashmon in his tiger wolf thing form in Colon. So it was kind of nice to see him as a different form than that. So we're not just getting the exact same Digimon. It's still Splashmon, but in a different form, and is mostly unrecognizable from his furry form, basically. So that was interesting. I was wondering which form that they would go with, if they'd go with both, but they just stuck with the humanoid form, but it kind of fits the theme. He's a very vain Digimon, and honestly, very, very creepy Mon of the Week. I got such a visceral, disgusted, creeped out vibe whenever he was touching people or just being generally creepy, just stalking people for their fear. That was creepy, but not scary like we've had in previous episodes. And it definitely makes this one a hard one to work out how I feel about it. I think I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how, as I said at the start, it doesn't have that ghost game problem where we're not spending most of the episode researching the Mon of the Week. The Mon of the Week kind of just, even though it's very plot convenient, at least we did have the characters researching it. It wasn't just like, oh, there's the hologram ghost. There was some research that actually took part, and it made it make sense why it was Hiro to have the idea to do the field shift. I am kind of disappointed that it wasn't Ruri who is doing the research, because that's kind of her thing. Like, it was her whole blog thing at the start, so I would have just assumed that she would be doing the research and not Hiro. That felt a little bit weird, but in any case, I'm glad that Hiro's doing something, and he is kind of like a smart character, so it's not out of character for him to be doing the research. It's just kind of a shame that Ruri's not really doing much of her blogging that she started the whole show basically being very active in. So that's kind of a shame that we didn't go in that path. It would have also made more sense, and it would be more of a Ruri-focused episode if she had done the research, because then it wouldn't just be Hiro coming up with the ideas like, Ruri, phase shift, or Ruri, use this attack. It just felt like it should have just been Ruri, because she just didn't feel like she had much of any thought going on. It could have just been Hiro, because Hiro was telling Ruri what to do. So that was kind of a shame. I wasn't a big fan of that, but overall I think I liked the episode. It was one of those ones that I'm not sure how to feel straight away after watching it. Usually I either have like some idea of what I know, and then my feelings change. Maybe I like it more, like with last week. Or sometimes I just love it straight away, and then my feelings don't change about that. But then also sometimes I come out of it thinking, I'm not really sure what I feel about this. And I think that's definitely because of the fact of how creepy it was. It wasn't scary, like we've had scary. Last week's episode was scary, that was horror. This one was creepy. It made me uncomfortable. It made me like kind of, oh, it's creepy. And not in the same way that the Arukenimon episode was creepy. That's just because I'm arachnophobic and I don't deal well with spiders. But that one was more like scary. This one was just, I was uncomfortable. I just felt slightly anxious that the characters were being stalked. That was really well done by the show. I really appreciated that. It also made for an interesting and more unique episode. It didn't follow the same formula that, I guess, at this point, a lot of the episodes haven't followed this formula, but the whole thing of, like, Mon of the Week is attacking, the characters spend 15 minutes researching it, and then there's a battle, and then sometimes the Digimon is good anyway. This episode also had a unique-ish ending in that I'd only guess it shares it in common with the Systemon episode, kind of, where the Digimon is taken away by Black Tailmon, Uber, but, however, the Mon was still defeated by the main characters. There was still some sort of defeat. There wasn't a full, like, destruction or killing of the character, which I'm fine with. I'm fine if we don't need to kill a Digimon every week. We've killed some, that's good enough. It's better than none, but we don't have to kill a Digimon every week, especially because Splashmon seems so incredibly powerful. It would have been weird for Simbara and Goromon to be able to defeat Splashmon. However, part of me was slightly disappointed that there wasn't, like, when they froze Splashmon, they didn't just grab a hammer and just go crack and then just have him shatter into a million pieces. It's one of those things that's done in cartoons, and it is considered a good cartoon death, but it is incredibly gory and disgusting if you actually think about dying like that. But anyway, those are kind of my feelings about this episode. I know that they probably don't make too much sense. I'm probably going to form a better opinion after I record the podcast, so I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you do too. But yeah, this one, super hard to grade it all. It was very creepy, and it did its job well of being creepy. It was, I believe at least it was well paced. It didn't feel like it was rushed towards the end. It felt like it took the perfect amount of time that it needed to do to tell the story that it had. However, I felt like the characters didn't really have characters in this episode. There was Hiro, basically, and he remembered that Galmon liked ice, and ice is crunchy, and he can turn Splashmon into ice. That felt like kind of a bit of a stretch. He's going to have really strong thighs after doing that leap. Like, it was a very bit of big stretch and big leap to make that assumption, but I'm glad that it worked out for the characters. But besides that, besides Hiro doing some research, which I do love that. I do love that he was doing the research rather than just waiting for another Mon of the Week to show up. That was fine. But overall, I just felt like the characters didn't have personalities enough. Kiyoshiro was afraid the whole episode. That was it. And I know that, yep, that's his character, but he didn't really do much other than that. Ruri just kind of listened to Hiro, but yeah, those are my thoughts of this episode. I'm sorry I don't have anything else to really say, but it was very creepy and probably is the creepiest episode of Digimon Ghost Game, if not the entirety of Digimon. I was creeped out. The show did a good job. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are for this episode in the comments. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, I'll see you on the next one. Bye!